Hello everyone, I am doing a demonstration on how to bake a cake. I'm actually going to do a chocolate cake for this demonstration. What you want to do first is set your oven to 350. That will be the temperature that you're going to use to be able to bake um, your cake. You will also need a mixing bowl along with a mixer. The ingredients that you're going to use is 3 eggs, a half a cup of vegetable oil, and then also you're going to use 1 and 1/4 cup of water. So first off, we're going to use the mixing pan, and it doesn't matter what size mixing pan that you use. For this particular demonstration, I'll be using a 13 by 9 cake square pan. And what you want to do is with your pan, you want to be able to grease your pan as well as flour your pan. This is going to help when you get ready to pour your batter into your pan. This is going to be easy to where your cake can be able to come easily up out of your pan and not sticking to your pan. So what I normally do is there's no actual measure of how much of oil to put into your pan. What I try to do is when I pour my oil into my pan, I don't try to like overdo it, because a lot of times that may make your batter a little more like uh, gooey like. So once I pour the oil in the pan, I normally just kind of like, move the pan around just to kind of get the oil um, even out in the pan. And as you see, I'm just kind of just going in a circular motion to even out the oil in the pan. Um, Once I do that, I'll take the flour and I'll dash that inside the pan. And so as I do that, I want to coat the flour inside the pan. And I'll show you what that looks like once I do that. So once you put your oil and your flour inside your pan, it's going to come out like this. All right. So after you have done that, now you're ready to go into mixing up your ingredients. So it's totally up to you if you want to use a box cake mix or if you are an expert, you can use ingredients that is more like a homemade cake. And a lot of times those ingredients are kind of similar, but it may have like an extra ingredient that most cake boxes mix don't have. And so today I'll be doing a cake box mix. And so I'm going to open up the batter and I'm going to pour it inside of my mixing bowl. All right, and then I'm going to use 3 large eggs. And so you just want to crack your eggs open. Try not to get any shells in there. And that all based on how you actually are, cracking those eggs open. All right. And then the next ingredient that we're going to use a half a cup of oil. So if you have a measurement cup like I do, your measurements are going to be on each side of the measurement cup. And so I'm going to pour a half a cup of oil. All right, and then I'm going to pour it inside of my mixing bowl. Next, I will need 1/4 cup of water, and I'll have to step away from the table to get that. Give me just a moment. So this will be the 1 cup, and then I have to add the 1/4. All right, so now we have added the 1 and 1/4 cup of water. So now once you have all your ingredients mixed inside the bowl, and I don't want to lean too far to pour it over, but Once you have mixed all your ingredients in, now it's time to blend all your ingredients inside of your bowl. Sorry. So what you want to do is you want to blend very well to where you see all right. Once everything has been blended, let me remove this. All right. Once everything has been blended, it's going to come out like this. So the oil, the water, the eggs, along with the powder batter for the cake mix have all been blended together. So the pan that you greased and flour, you're going to take this batter that you have inside of your mixing bowl and you're going to pour it inside of the pan, the baking pan. I normally use a spatula. This kind of make it easy to be able to pour the batter inside of the pan. All right. So once I pour my batter inside of my pan, I normally give it a little shake. And the only reason why I sometimes do that is because sometimes when you're pouring batter inside of a pan, sometimes your batter may be more on one side than on the other side. So sometimes I just give it a little shake just to kind of even it out. All right. So once you do that, you're going to take your pan and you're going to place it inside of your oven. Remember, temperature is supposed to be at 350. Once you have placed your baking pan inside of your oven for, with the temperature of 350, you want to leave it in there for close to 30 minutes. If it depending on what type of oven you may have, sometimes it may not even take the full 30 minutes to actually bake. A lot of times, if you see where your top part of your batter is baking, but the bottom part still looks like it's not quite done, then leave it in there until you're able to take a fork or either a toothpick to stick inside of your batter to make sure that you see nothing on your fork or your toothpick. So give me just a moment to place this in the oven. All right, so I have prepared another cake before I actually had did that. This should show you what it looks like when it comes out. And this is what it looks like without the icing. It's kind of like when you do a cake, you can kind of mix it up. You can do, whatever kind of cake flavor you want to do, as well as whatever kind of icing that you want to do. So I said, well, being that this is going to be a chocolate cake, we're going to use chocolate icing. And so there's many different manufacturer of cake mix and cake ices that you can use. Is whatever you prefer, basically. So what I'm going to do is open this up. Give me just a moment. All right. I had to rinse out my spatula spatula is going to be very easy to use when it's time for you to scoop your icing up and spread it on your cake. And normally what I do is when I open up the icing, I normally take my spatula and I just kind of like stir around in the container just to kind of loosen up that icing. And so once I do that, I just scoop it up. And basically all I'm doing is just spraying that icing over the cake that I took out the oven. Now, the very important thing about when you're icing the cake is that you want to make sure the cake is cooled down first before you place your icing. If you end up putting your icing on your cake and your cake is still hot, close to being warm or whatever, your icing is not going to stick on your cake. It's going to kind of rub off on your cake. Kind of look like serve on your cake, basically. As soon as I finish this, I'll show you guys what it looks like. And I kind of used all the icing inside the container. It's totally up to you as far as to how much icing you want to put on your cake. You do not have to use the entire container of icing. So after you have iced your cake, this is what your cake look like. Thank you guys for watching my video.